I'm Ted Berg for SNY.TV, and this episode of Know Your Enemy, presented by Pepsi Max, looks at the Cubs as the Mets begin a road trip in Chicago with a 3-game set. Calling into the studio is Paul Sullivan, who covers the Cubs for the Chicago Tribune. Paul, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. We usually like to start out with one positive note for the opposing team. It's tough to find those for the on-field Cubs this year, but they have had a major turnover in their front office. Are there any signs yet that Theo Epstein is beginning to pay off?
Well, not yet. Obviously, they have the worst record in the major leagues, but the people here knew that there was going to be a gut rehab job going on with the Cubs, and the process is going to start pretty much by the trading deadline. Ryan Dempster, maybe Matt Garza, hopefully Alfonso Soriano, and a few others. So they've given them the benefit of the doubt, and now the rehab is about to begin.
The flip side of things for the Cubs, their offense has just been abysmal this year. I know they've gotten a couple of nice performances for a month or so at a stretch, but up and down, second to last in the league in on-base percentage, 14th in OPS. Not exactly the traditional money ball here.
No, they've already fired the hitting coach, Rudy Jaramillo. One of the worst offenses, obviously, in baseball. They had a guy in the 5-hole the other day, Luis Valbuena, who had like 5 home runs the last 3 years. So, yeah, it's really a struggling offense. The rumor is they're going to be calling up their top prospect, Anthony Rizzo, from AAA against the Mets, possibly as soon as tomorrow. So that should be a little bit of an injection there, but they've got a long way to go before they start fixing this offense.
We mentioned Rizzo. If we do see him this series, what can we expect out of him?
Well, he's a power-hitting left-hander. Came up with the Padres last year and struggled, got sent back down. He's the guy that Theo and Jed Hoyer brought over. Jed brought him over to San Diego from Boston in the Adrian Gonzalez trade, and then Jed, when he came to Chicago, brought him up here. So he's one of their prized prospects from the Boston system, and there's a lot of attention being paid to him, probably as much hype as I've seen from a Cubs minor league player in the last 2 decades.
Let's talk about the pitchers in this series, and tonight's starter, Wood, has just been shaky all season, especially troubling as the walks. Yeah,
he came up from Iowa about a month ago. He has been better lately. He started out really poorly. Got him in the Sean Marshall trade from Cincinnati in the offseason. Just not a real hard thrower. He's got to have his command on when he's working well. So it's kind of been hit or miss with him so far.
Tomorrow's starter, Randy Wells, is a guy who came into the league with so much success and has sort of been on a decline since then. This year he was out of the rotation for a while. Now he's back, but his walk rate is at a career high.
Yeah, he's only a stopgap in the rotation now while Ryan Dempster's on the disabled list. I'm sure he's likely to be gone or back to the bullpen or back to AAA momentarily. Yeah, he struggled with his control as well, walking guys. But he did have 3 fairly decent seasons as a major league starter before this year when the new regime came in and kind of made him the forgotten man.
And then Wednesday's starter, Jeff Samardzija, a guy who got off to a great start, was a big prospect. It looked like he was sort of finally making good on that. Last few outings, he's been hit real hard.
Yeah, he's a guy they converted from the bullpen. He had a really solid year in the bullpen last year, and as you said, he got off to a good start here. But lately, once he gets to about 80 pitches, the ball starts to get up, and teams start to hit him. So he's usually solid for the first 4 or 5 innings, and hits a wall in the 6th. So that's something they're going to have to address if they want to keep him in the rotation.
And their bullpen this year hasn't been so great either.
No, the bullpen has really hurt them. Obviously, Kerry Wood has already retired after a poor start. Carlos Marmol lost his closer's job. He just recently regained it, and not because he's pitching well, but because the Cubs are trying to deal him, and there's not much of a chance of dealing him as a middle reliever with his kind of salary. And the rest of the guys, a lot of pickups from other teams' waiver wire. So it's really hurting. That's another area that the Cubs are really going to have to fix up. It used to be one one of their strong points last year, and now it's one of their weak points.
Paul, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Remember, for all the latest Mets coverage, be sure to check in at MetsBlog.com, TedQuarters.net, and SNY.TV.